Welcome back to the Beyond Worlds podcast. I'm Beyond Joe.
I remain Stephen.
And it's the Beyond Worlds book club again. It's that time of the month.
Books. Yeah.
So it's the only the second one we've ever done.
Yeah, but this is a very good one. This is a fun book.
Well, I would say that the first one. So if you guys didn't catch up in time, or you weren't aware that Beyond Worlds book club was a thing, the first one was Brandon Sanderson's the first book in his Mistborn series, The Final Empire. That was Stephen brought that to the table, and I loved it. Really, really did. And I'm not going to go into it too much more. Go listen to the episode. So Stephen really did well. Recommended that one, I think. Especially considering I was new to the whole Brandon Sanderson verse. So yeah, well done. Very impressed.
So yeah, that's the best intro to it. For sure. For us guys, anyway. It's got a cool power system. You don't have to read too much to get to the power system either.
Good. It was good.
A couple of the other ones are a bit convoluted. And then Way of Kings, you got to read like all the depressing stuff, and then you get to cool powers like right at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, this one's got cool powers all the way through.
You picked well. I loved it. And so then it was my turn, and so I picked Carl. No, I want to say it's not Carl Diniman. It's Matt Diniman, isn't it?
Matt. Yes.
Carl is the name of the character in the book. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Diniman. Which is a bit of a funny book, only in the sense that you can't get it paperback in the UK for whatever reason. So only hard books available. I think it's self-published. I think that's why. So from when I was reading bits of it, I think he does it through Patreon and things like that.
Okay.
So my guess is a
lot of these lit RPG guys are a bit like that. They'll self-publish. Like that's why it will be massive as an ebook. And then there'll be hard copies. Yeah, like there is. Either it will stick as an ebook, or if it's really, really popular as an ebook, then they'll publish hard copies because people high demand and Patreon stuff, like you said.
And then full spoilers for the first book, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Just before we start, that's what the Beyond World Book Club is. We spend the month reading the book. I don't think it took either of us even close to a month to read this one. And then we come together.
I'm currently on book 4
of seven. So is it ongoing? That's one thing I'm not sure about. If there is a book 8 incoming, because he's done these quick as well, and that's why I believe it was self-published.
I would imagine so. I mean,
we'll have to wait and see.
I don't see it ending in 3 books from where it is, but it does sort of. The escalation is slowed down, but not slowed down. But it's building to a big point, which might, I don't know. I would think it would be ongoing still.
Okay.
Well, if it's this popular, like on whenever I get a new one, the review count is like 15,000 reviews already. Wow. And they're all like, it's 4.6, 4.7 stars each one. Like, doesn't go below that as far as I saw, which, why would you not carry that on?
Yeah.
Especially if, well, just a bit of it, there's 15 floors?
Yeah, so the idea behind Dungeon Crawler Carl is that he is at home, his girlfriend's away, and he's looking after the cat. Is it ex-girlfriend at that point? I can't remember.
No,
they've just broken up.
No.
We're dead together.
She goes on holiday to Barbados. With her family. Yeah, and he's looking after the kitty.
And it's a prize kitty. It's a award-winning Crufts kitty, absolute pedigree. And for whatever reason, this one night, it decides to jump out of the window onto a tree. It's never done it before, and he doesn't understand why. And he's peed off, and he's in his boxers, and he's just, one of those nights you've had enough. And he
went out in his Crocs. It's been snowing.
And it was like so cold, unbearably so. And was he in Canada, or was that just where my brain went to? It was in Canada. So I was like, he's really cold.
1 sec, I can go.
My brain went to Canada. Think ice cold.
It was like cold place.
He
He
basically
might be
said that if it
alright.
had been out there any longer, he would have died from hypothermia. And then something miraculous happens, and all the buildings basically just collapse into nothingness. So not into rubble, but into nothing. So anything with a roof just gets like tin canned, crushed into the ground, just leaving
Yeah,
sort of like a patch where it was. Um, and then there's an announcement sort of across, I don't know if it's
the
into
wall.
your brain or I
Yeah,
think it was into his brain, that basically explains what's happened. And what's happened is there's an alien race that have come to Earth. They have conducted this trial basically whereby someone can fight for the sake of humanity. But in doing so, you're going to have to enter a dungeon. Some doors are going to appear.
oh,
And
there was a bit more to it than that.
oh,
So
Leo, yeah, please go ahead.
the syndicate is a galaxy-wide or universe-wide conglomerate of corporations who made a contract with the sentient beings of Earth, like X time cycles ago, to come and harvest
That's it.
and claim resources from them. And Earth defaulted on their contract, probably because of like a cataclysm event, and humanity just forgot about the aliens, so they come to collect. And now there's you can get your planet back, but you've got to go through the gauntlet.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's revealed at this point, but quite soon it is revealed that it's never happened. No one's ever
Nope.
made it to the bottom of the floor. And as you mentioned, the syndicate, each race of governmental aliens take
Yeah.
turns in produce. So it's also, this dungeon is broadcast across the universe.
Yeah, reality
Um,
TV show.
Yeah. So it's a reality TV show. And each season of the TV show, so each planet is run by a different syndicate.
Yeah.
And they're sort of warring factions. And so that comes into play right near the end of the first book, is that the faction that are in control of this dungeon of Earth's crawling event, they're not very well liked, and they owe a lot of money, and they're in a bit of trouble. So they're in theory trying to rush along this dungeon, which
Yeah.
I imagine will come into play in the further books. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it,
it's fucking funny, man.
it's so good.
I'll preface this. When I opened it, I started reading, and then 150 pages were gone. Literally, I looked down at my Kindle app, and it was like 150 out of 400 or like 167, I think it was, out of 400 and whatever, 440. It was like, oh fuck. Okay.
Mm.
Carry on going. And yeah, I think I finished it in about 3 days. And I was like, Joe, what did I do? And then went on to book 2, and then book 3, and then book 4, and then I realized I'd consumed a bit too much, and I've slowed down on book 4 a bit. That's why I started reading Kingdom again. Break it up.
Yeah, give your brain a bit of a break from crawling.
Yeah. So
Um,
I have refreshed a little bit on book 1 though, so I will. If I say anything that you think, wait, what? Tell me, shut the fuck up as quick as possible. I
I
might
will.
like. The story is that good, and it flows really. Like having read it the way I have, obviously, it flows really well into one another. But
Yeah.
yeah, I might get like a bit forward. Like my brain might be a bit forward on the powers and stuff, but I should be able to rein it in.
I have gotten about a third of the way into book 2. And that the only reason it took me a while is because I'm always late to start a book. It's sometimes a bit of a push, and I just haven't had the opportunity to read anymore. But it's not like I don't want to.
I
Picking up on my
already
Kindle.
had the book as soon as you showed it to me on after Christmas. I was like, all right, cool. And I had it ready to go. So as soon as we're like, okay, we've recorded Miss One
Straight to
reading
it.
time. Yeah, I needed something else to read because I'd already started final the second book of Miss One. I was like, I don't really want to do this one now. New book.
It is a really well written book. I think that's what
Mm.
makes it so easy to read.
Yeah,
Some people, so some of the feedback I have seen regarding the book is some people just don't get it. So I think the key thing is if you have an understanding of video games, a basic understanding of like
yeah.
video games, I think there's
it
probably some terminology that just doesn't make sense to people.
this sort of book style is leaned very heavily into that. It's called lit RPG for a reason. You
I've
know,
not heard that. I mean, you've brought it up a couple of times, but I hadn't heard. So what's lit RPG? Does it? It doesn't matter if you don't know what it actually stands for. But what's the idea behind it?
um, so from my understanding, I've read two other series that are like this, and it's it's Isekai the book sort of
Okay,
thing. And not necessarily, but the general, just to get a generalization of it all. And you will get loads of like level status, level up messages. So it would be kind of like reading Solo Leveling,
got
the
you.
light novel, I imagine, where it's Jimbu probably, I haven't read it, but probably gets loads of like level up status messages and shit like that.
Yeah,
I've read a couple of webtoons that are similar to that have that sort of thing. I can imagine their light novels are similar. Um, and yeah, so it follows a sort of your standardized. I won't say standardized. You know, like old school RPG sort of format where a guy goes and levels up, and you get skills and you level them up, um, using that as a premise. And I think if you're not a gamer, if you're not into D&D, if you're not into role playing, as it were, I guess, it probably wouldn't be for you. But
yeah.
um, if you can take that bit with a pinch of salt, then yeah, maybe. But generally, it would be aimed more, I guess, at gamers,
I think you
especially
just
with
need a
like some of the
basic
language
knowledge.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I
I mean, it's
think
just leveling up, just
yeah,
level
what
up
could
stronger.
what could be off-putting is sometimes there is like a double spread of opening loot boxes. So
Mm,
for someone who opens loot boxes like that, it's just, oh yeah, but I've done that 100 times and I'm looking for certain things. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, what are they going to get? What's this? It's like, oh, it's cat food again. It's like, oh, damn, rubbish box. And I don't mind that, but I could also see some people being like, oh, why am I just reading through opening boxes? This is not fun.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Why?
yeah,
What's the point? I think nowadays, like probably more people would enjoy
oh,
this one because
yeah,
it's other ones I've read are like they get sent to another place. Like
yeah.
it'll be standard fantasy shit, but because this one's set on Earth and like Carl's a bit wacky, he's not like a nerd, you know.
Oh no,
Like I mean, he is technically. He's like an engineer or whatever, you know, right?
yeah. Well, he liked. I think it was that he liked
Because
diddling with things. Like he was. Oh, it's a
but
diddling is not a
he
word I
was
should
in the
use.
navy, not like the navy, but he worked the Coast Guard and worked on.
Yeah.
And he did like maintenance, not like full maintenance, but he could fix machines,
Yes.
like
And they
that sort of nerd. I wouldn't say like yeah, but he's nuts.
because that's one of the fun things about when you enter the dungeon as well. You're talking about skills and things like
Mm,
this. You acquire the first set of skills you get are completely based on what you enter the dungeon with. So your certain knowledges and things like this
yeah,
will affect the skills you get in game. So because he has mechanical knowledge, that's one of his skills, right?
yeah,
And he was also a pet owner because he went in with his cat. No shoes, no trousers. Um, which is just what like it's
just
so
his
stupidly
leather
simple,
jacket.
so stupidly simple that the entirety of the book he is hunting. Like he'll be looting corpses, he'll be looking at old people like dead bodies, or asking everyone, does anyone have a pair of freaking trousers for me
Yep.
to wear on this live televised event? And for whatever, well, we know the reason, and you know it by the end of the first book, so we'll go there. But for some strange reason, can't get any
Nothing.
trousers or
No.
shoes. Very odd. You get a toe
Is
ring though. A nice pretty toe ring.
mm, um it even like the extra characters that they bring it in. So I think in the first book we get introduced to we get introduced to Mordecai,
Yes.
obviously. So Mordecai is a guild leader. So in the dungeon there are safe rooms. They're obviously like they take everything into account. This corporation when they like take over the planet and make the dungeon. Uh, there's toilets, which is important to mention, all
Very
through the
important.
dungeon because they're like, dude, guys, this is like televised. We don't want to watch you pissing and shitting in these corridors. Like, Let's be honest, nobody wants to see that. So they put toilets everywhere. There's like safe rooms with NPCs, and I put that in quotation marks because and yeah, they'll like explain bits of the dungeon and what you're meant to do, and potentially it's areas. It's a safe area,
Yeah.
and there's a guild master there. You know, you think of it as like it's a tavern. There are also other like sleeping safe rooms dotted around as well, if you need a nap, and yeah, a few other bits. It's funny though because it's like with the glitches, like so. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, it's just the firmware update. The toilets will no longer explode.
Yeah, I love those little
What?
comments.
Yeah.
They were, yeah,
It makes it like you could imagine being in there and that sort of stuff happening, and like it it makes it more not more real, but more real. You know, like someone would say that. Yeah. Well, hey, look, man, toilets aren't doing that
it,
anymore.
yeah. Sorry, we're not going to murderize you.
Well, we
Yet,
are, but
yeah. Something. There's 2 points I really want to make sure we nail down. So, Princess Donut, and then the televised aspect
mm.
and popularity. So, Princess Donut is the cat he goes in with, and
Wait.
we're
We
waiting.
got we got where is it? We got to do her justice,
Oh, her full name, is that why?
of course.
So yeah, because Princess Donut is a show cat, she also has a show cat name, which is
I can't find it. Shit, where is it? It's like Princess Donut, the Queen Anne Chonk, and she's
yeah,
a pretty person princess.
she's amazing.
Yeah, she's the
I
best.
can't believe I like a cat character.
Yeah. I was wondering where they were gonna go, how like what relevance she was gonna have. Cause like I saw a bunch of covers and the cat was always on there. I just thought maybe it'd be just like a. So Cole goes into the dungeon with Donut. They find their first guild hall and they meet Mordecai, and being and we mentioned loot boxes before. They've got some loot boxes, and Carl has got some, and Donut has got some. As a life form that has entered the dungeon,
Yeah,
she is a player, sort of. Well, at the moment, she's still classified as a pet. Princess Donut has the honor of being the very first kitty to enter the dungeon, so she gets a super legendary mega loot box. Loot box, whatever, contains a cookie. Kitty eats cookie. Kitty turns into a Kira
yeah,
for 5-10 minutes. Kitty and Mordecai's like, "Oh man, this could be bad."
yeah. Screw it, either
Like,
way.
it could be real good, but like you could be fucked. Turns out, no, he's not fucked. She gains sentience and is very, very, very smart. Like she's got like bunch super high intelligence stats straight off the bat,
Charisma
and
through the roof.
yeah, because she's a cat, she's got like cat charisma, and then because of the show cat, she's got extra charisma. Yeah, and I was like, before that, I was like, man, it would be funny if she just like was actually just a cat the whole way through, and like we're just. I wouldn't care if she didn't turn up till like the last 3 chapters every time and was the clutchest cat, like just in there, just plod along, and some of the bosses like, what the fuck is this? And then shoddy you can sort of thing. It wouldn't bother me, but this is even better. Like she Donut as the highest statted leveled character in their party is the party leader,
Yeah,
and she's the boss
she is the boss.
because her strength stat for some reason is like 4 times as high as Carl's to start with, so she could literally one shot him if she wanted to. It's like, no, come, let's go, bro. You're my servant. But like in a nice way. Like she's like, I get it, Carl. I know. don't worry. And she remembers everything. She's like compartmentalized all those memories of years of living with Carl and his girlfriend, and just the little witty banter between the two is just magical.
It really is magical. And there's points that poor Carl, they'll be walking along, tell it like during the story, and Donut will just pull something out of the bag, just so out of the blue, like, oh, that reminds me of the time when all those other men would come over the house when you were at work. And it's like, wait, what? What? And it's like, yeah, well, no, yeah, she had many boyfriends. Didn't you know that, Carl? I thought you were aware. It's like, what? Poor Carl.
Oh, it's funny.
Um, and Donut is very much still a cat. So, well, in my
Yes,
opinion,
yes,
has the cat sense. So, in the dungeon, you can get items. The thing with items is it's really important that you read the full description because they'll
yeah.
have some mad benefits, but they're
But
most of the time will be a detriment to those benefits. And we're used to that in video games.
yeah.
Donut doesn't bother. She can read, she chooses not to. If it's
Ooh,
pretty, she puts it on.
ooh, ooh,
Tattoos,
piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
crowns, and so
Yep.
yeah, she does end up with some mad buffs because a lot of these things have some really big negatives. But yes,
Yeah.
luckily so far those negatives haven't come into play in the first book. So
She's also a bit of a glass cannon, so she does have to be very,
yes,
very careful.
yeah, they realised that pretty quick, didn't they? That one hit
Yeah.
and she's pretty much
She's got
poofed.
like 3 constitution or 2 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did
But she's a cat, so pew, pew, pew. She'll be okay. Um,
she has a
uh,
move magic missile, doesn't she? So that's
yeah.
like her favorite go-to thing because so she's got this magic, and it means long distance. You can just sort of shoot away.
Pew.
But they even go into details like, oh, magic missile cost 20 mana. It takes this amount of
Yeah,
time to
yeah.
thing. So it's not like she can just spam it. You got to be
Yeah.
clever. It's really, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
they do. They go into all those details generally, like, or even down to potions and buffs and everything. Like, it's really cool. I very much appreciate that sort of stuff. Even I
yeah,
won't ever remember all the stuff that's happened, but I'm like, ooh, numbers go up, yay! Um, yeah,
so yeah.
and Carl himself is pretty nifty. Like,
Oh
so
yeah,
he takes a sort of anarchistic approach. Like, the fuck, I'm in this dungeon. Okay, boom,
yeah,
and
quite
just
literally.
starts finding the materials and ingredients to start making like grenades and like little bombs and then a big bomb. And yeah, you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's an interesting way to tackle some situation like that, and it's not something I've seen before. Like explosives expert, and yeah, I was how he uses it, and it makes sense that like it'll do nice big damage and stuff.
Yeah,
And then he's
surprising
like,
amounts of damage as well. Like
yeah,
he sort of
well,
yeah,
because these aren't like actually they're not they're earth materials, but they've been like upgraded to like alien tech earth materials, right?
yeah.
So we don't really know the potency of them. He's just like reads it. Oh, this will explode. Cool.
And when we were talking about the plus and negative, so when Carl opens his boxes in that first room, one of the things I think it gives him extra like unarmed combat or something. So
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
right, I'm
yeah,
gonna have
yeah,
to.
yeah.
He
Punch
realizes
everything.
that it's much more effective to just punch with his bare fist, despite it causing him. So that will cause him immense pain. And you heal in the dungeon over
Yeah,
time, and you can take potions. So that's something to bear in mind. But so he punches tons of stuff, bloodies up, and he's doing a lot of smushing with his feet. A lot of so it's like his feet, his hands, and his explosive capabilities. There,
yeah,
and it's nice not seeing another sword and shield, and
yeah. Guns,
magic, and
no
yeah,
archer. Yeah, no magic. Other people do get like some crazy magic shit eventually. There's some gnarly fucking shit that happens in the later books. There's some crazy classes. Um, yeah,
And so the televised aspect of the show that I wanted to touch on, what's clever about that is that's how we see other characters that are in the dungeon. So other Earth
yeah,
people who have entered the dungeon, and this is across the entire of the globe that this has happened that they've entered. And the idea is that you're just trying to survive, and while surviving, finding the next door to the next floor down. You have a set amount of time to do it. If you don't do it, the next floor will collapse and you're dead. And is it twice or is it? I can't remember how often they do it, but there's like a recap show, and that shows all the other.
Yeah, it's every set amount of hours, I
Yeah,
think.
it shows all the aliens at home and what's been happening. Now you want to try and get on the recap show because if you do, you end up getting more popular. It's like getting followers on Twitch or whatever.
Yeah, you get social media hype.
Yeah. And then you get sponsors. And obviously, with sponsors comes money, and then they can help you with better loot boxes. There's something
Yeah.
else that I read. Oh, it's a bit awful to say, but a bit Hunger Gamesy. I'm sure that happened in the Hunger Games. If you got a special thing, they would drop loot boxes from the sky to help you out and stuff like this. So I don't think that was totally original, but that was one of the better bits of those Hunger Games books, I thought. So yeah, the sponsors can either F you up or help you out. And
yeah, because you could get sponsored by someone that's like, oh, wait, you said some shit about, okay, cool, we just weren't sending you shit.
Yeah, just leave them to it.
Shame. Or they could try trick you, like give you something that looks cool, but then you're like, bleh, afterwards.
And quite quickly, maybe due to Princess Donut's charisma and due to how just nuts these two are together, some of the hijinks they get into, exploding. I mean, there is a point where they're fighting some goblins, and Carl discovers he can make this boom juice or whatever. And I think it's ended up called Carl's. So he creates a new weapon in the game. So every time someone now creates this weapon, he'll get payment from it. It's very clever. And he uses it to basically cheese a boss. So they build a big cart full of bombs, throw it in.
Shall I read the achievement?
Yeah, do it.
New achievement. War criminal. You have killed more than 20 non-combatants in a single attack. Question. What's the only thing standing between an innocent child and a happy, fulfilling life? Answer. You. The answer is you.
So yeah, the room, yes, there is a boss in there, but so are all the women, children, pregnant women. It's like a birthing room.
All the babies,
basically.
Yeah. I think the boss was giving birth to them. Maybe. There was babies everywhere. But these babies would have got aggroed, like going into Renala in fucking Elden Ring. There's all the little kids on the floor trying to fuck you up with the fire and books and shit. They would have aggroed on him. But yeah, fuck it. Make the room explode. And even like the first boss that he fights, like it's weird. It's very light-hearted, but it's just very, very like dark moments. Like the first person he fights is like a slob boss, but it turns out that it was like the reused corpse of some Latino lady.
Yeah.
And she's like screaming at him in Spanish, something, but he's like, I can hear pain in her voice or something like that. And it's like your first taste of the other place the book will go.
Yeah.
Because it does have a very light-hearted overarching story, but there is this dark undercurrent going through it. And I quite appreciate that as well.
I had to translate that language as well. And it is written in Spanish. So we're seeing what Carl's here. He doesn't know Spanish. So I use Google Translate, and it's basically, please kill me. Why does so her stomach's full of like these leech, horrible bug monsters that just keep coming out of her mouth. She's like, please help me, end my suffering. Why am I in so much pain? Help me. So a lot of these bosses that he faces as well are themed on like some of the dark sides of humanity. So like sloth. I can't off the top of my head remember the rest of them. But it's clever. It makes you be able to really connect with these bosses because they're flaws, right? So there's is it a area boss, a city boss?
There's neighborhood. Neighborhood, borough, area, city, borough, district. There's loads.
And each step up is harder. Each step up, you should have more people with you. Very cool. Very cool.
This was a neighborhood boss. Neighborhood bosses all drop a map piece. You got a map with a fog of war and everything on it. It's cool.
And the map's super helpful because the idea is to find those next set of steps. When you find the maps, you can see mobs, you can see NPCs that are against you or for you. Super, super useful to have.
Yeah, you could. Oh no, That's a later thing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I know what you're
I'm
going
to
to
be quiet.
say.
Just in case. Yeah, it's cool, man. Like, yeah, and man, when the recap shows come
Yes,
on,
back
they're
to
like,
the
oh,
recaps.
there's X million of you left, and Carl's like, holy shit, that's like half of the number that it said when we came. Oh my god,
Yeah.
like we're actually, oh shit, fuck. And the fact it keeps that number going even through the later books as well, and that number gets surprisingly low.
Yeah. Or not surprising, really, considering the stuff that they do encounter. This
Yeah,
is it.
true.
Like
Yeah. But
the how they survive some of these things. It's
yeah,
Carl's
it's true
ingenuity.
because all armies would be inside. Like unless
Yeah,
they're out in open warfare somewhere, that all the armies would have been inside. Yeah,
yeah. And things like
because
guns have limited ammo. I mean, you might get them in loot
There's
boxes, but you're not going to just,
not
and you might be able
necessarily
to
as
craft
well.
it. But again, you
Well,
can't use crafting tables to lower floors.
mm,
So he's Carl. Carl is like how I play Fallout. So he will go into a room and he will
take
loot
everything.
everything, everything, and that's why he's so he's got such a high ingenuity because he will then build stuff with the things that he loots. And some of the stuff he loots is worthless. Some of it's actually not so worthless.
Mm.
He gets a helping hand throughout as well. So, well, we say helping. Depends how you want to look at it. So there is an AI. That AI is the one that's telling him about leveling up, and I think
So
that might be one of my favorite characters.
the AI control. So the corporation run the dungeon, but the
Yeah,
AI controls the dungeon, and the
yeah,
AI is owned by the syndicate. It's not the corporation running the thing has no say in the system AI. The system AI is its own separate entity, sort of thing. It's not influenced by anything apart from the game.
yeah.
System AI's got a little ting.
Got a big ting, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I was trying to underplay it, but yeah, he's got a big thing. Big thing for feet.
Well, specifically
Yeah.
Carl's.
Yeah. At this point, I can imagine it's Carl's, but you know, yeah, it's probably Carl because Carl was just leaning into it. No one else
Yeah.
like let it. He's system AI was like, fuck yes, one of them's doing it. Yeah, go.
So when we're talking about these loot boxes, they come from the AI, as long as they're
Yes.
not a sponsored loot box. So
Yeah.
the AI can control what you get or what you don't.
Yeah.
And so when you near the end of the first book, that's when you learn why Carl has no shoes, no trousers, why he's
Yep.
got pedicure kits, which will, if he prunes his feet, he gets a plus to damage and all this stuff.
Yeah.
He
Plus
gets
the
smush skills.
damage. Yeah.
It's just he gets little rings for his feet, and but Carl
Ankle
goes deep. He's like, you
bracelets.
know what? You like my
Accurate.
feet? Let's do it. I'm smushing everything.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, like his feet will just become ultra resistant to everything,
That's what happens.
and you know, it's basically like wearing shoes. Anyway, you probably it's probably better off just using your feet because I don't know, touching the grass, you'll probably get more feet powers. You know.
Yeah, and it does come to bite him in the ass at one point having these super powerful feet. So we're obviously not going to go into every aspect of the book. It's a decent sized book, and there is so much stuff to touch on. But there's a point where there's all these grubs, and the idea behind it is if you kill one, like 5 more appear
Yeah,
up until the point of something like 500,000. There's a limit to that it reaches, but
yeah.
that
There's a limit to the area, the amount of them in the area, but because Carl smushed them all, and there was a glitch with them as well. I think there was a bug
yeah,
in them, and yeah, they just like
and
they hit
so
the limit very quickly.
because Carl's got such a powerful foot skill, the place is like knee deep in these things, and every step he takes, he kills another one. So he
Yeah,
can't help but make the situation worse.
yeah.
And when these grubs don't do anything. They can't even hurt you. They can't bite. They're just a
I
nuisance.
think they're the cleaners of the
Yes,
floor. They're
because each
like
floor has them, doesn't it?
yeah,
Rats and
they've
then
got
these
vacuum
bugs.
cleaners basically. But they can get stronger. I
Yes, so
think.
these ones turn into Vespoids. Oh, well, not Vespoids. That's from Monster Hunter. The equivalent of like some
The-
massive hornet-like
So
creature.
they remind me during Borderlands 2, those
Oh
bugs
yeah,
that
yeah,
up them. That's what I
yeah.
pictured when I was reading it. I was like,
Good
that's
shout.
uh, don't know what they're meant to look like, but that's what I saw every time. I I was thinking that that was gonna they were all gonna make a massive one, but no, it was worse.
It was worse. And during the trial, so Carl meets a couple of people. The first people they meet, they realize are player killers basically.
Mm.
And you sort of get a hint then, and it's only a hint, and I don't know any more about it because I haven't read past that bit. But you sort of get the hint that when you go into the dungeon, that potentially the AI is giving people slightly different instructions on what to do, because for whatever reason these two seem intent that they must kill, really, which is a weird thing. It's like if you have to survive, you have to kill other players. That seems to be what they were told because they're obsessed with it. That's just their goal. Um, and Carl leaves, so they have a little fight in a safe room, don't they?
Mm.
And then Carl leaves them a little gift, which doesn't turn out how it should. So he loots a corpse, much like in Fallout. You can put things back into a corpse, or like you can pickpocket
Yeah,
someone and put in a live grenade and run away and it'll explode. It's almost exactly where this is drawn from. And he realizes that the dynamite and stuff he has is expiring. So he puts it into some corpses
yeah.
he leaves behind in hopes that these two will pick it up. But they don't pick it up. Someone else
Mm.
does.
Yeah, they had daughter in there with them.
Yeah.
Who was just fucking terrified of everything. Uh, yeah, yeah.
She picks it up.
Mm.
So, and yeah, I think that's going to create their biggest sort of rivalry in the dungeon. Again, so near the end of the first book, there is an interview. So it's hard. There is interviews you can do if you're a popular
Yeah,
crawler, and you'll get called onto these interviews. And there is a point where they've sort of been winning a bit too much. They've been annoying the syndicate a little bit, so they put them in for an interview with a less than how would you describe it? Just an asshole, really, isn't he? The interviewer, just like
yeah. It was.
teenage
It
boy,
was.
yah yah yah.
Yeah, it was kind of like a hype show. It'd be like getting put. I don't know how our audience. It'd be like going on Bill O'Reilly. I'm sure. One of those guys, like just not trying to have a conversation with you, trying to trap you into a story and then shout at you and then call you an idiot. But yeah, he sort of traps him in the situation with the PKers. And yeah, that's when they explain it to him, don't they? Like, yeah, you fucking killed our daughter. You fucking fucked her up, you asshole. Or it
But
like blew off her arms or something because you're so low level. It just fucked her.
well,
And it's
what
like, oh
was and
shit.
I don't know. Maybe they will tell more in the further books. But at the end of that interview, how it showed it was that the bomb went off. The girl could have been healed, but mum
But
killed her.
oh
So
yeah,
mum
yeah,
ended her. So it was. We don't know why. There could be. There's an insinuation that was her only choice. But from Donut and Carl's point of view, you could have
no,
given her a
no,
potion. You could have looked
yeah,
after her. You just chose the easy way out. Like I'm not taking responsibility for this. Like, and you tried to fucking kill me. Like that's what you
yeah.
get. Like I've got to watch my back.
I just wanted to go
Um,
to sleep, bro. Fuck you.
that interviewer, he is a bastard, and he gives the sort of angry couple, the
Yeah,
PKers, a special potion that would
yeah,
give them the ability to find Carl whenever they wanted, if they take it, if they choose to
yeah,
take it.
yeah. If they drink it, they can pick. Well, they can see players in the vicinity.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh no, they can put input. So my understanding
Oh
was they
yeah, they
input
can
a
put in
player's
someone's
name
name
and
and
they know
it will.
exactly where they are. And I don't know if they can teleport to them or how that.
Nah, I think it just shows where they are, and
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
but
It
yeah,
was
way too OP, way too OP.
yeah. That's a strong ability. Um,
Some of the abilities are amazing, aren't they?
yeah, they're cool. They're well thought out. Some pretty original. Some of the later stuff's really cool. Um, yeah, I won't say too much. And
um,
I like how how they structure it. So I'm pretty sure in the when they first meet Mordecai, he just touches on. He's like, you're better off hunting for loot boxes until a certain floor, and then
yeah,
after a certain floor, that's when you like picking up things from what you kill will be very very worth it because that's where the good drops will come.
yeah,
But focus on getting sick loot boxes first.
and
Because you're more likely to get something good from that will really help.
Am I right in saying in the first book covers 2 floors? I think it's two.
A floor and a yeah. It's either 2 floors or a floor and a bit.
Because I thought it was 2, and then they are going into the next floor. Because it's an interview you said it ended on when we just discussed at the start of the podcast, didn't we?
Yeah.
And the interviews happen between floors.
Gem.
Um,
There
because the
are like
first
some between. There's some between floors, but there's some while they're on floors as well.
mid
Like
floor,
they
isn't
do
there?
have some scheduled
But
ones.
the reason why I think it was the end of a floor is because the other people that Carl meets along his way, and it's kind of heartbreaking, but it's an
It's
old
yeah,
people's home, isn't it?
yeah,
Um, when I say it's not the home, it's there's a couple of the orderlies, if you like,
yeah.
and
A couple of maintenance guys,
yeah.
and yeah, just a bunch of old people that decided they wanted to be outside that day,
Oh, there was a
that night.
fire. Someone set
Oh
fire to
yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah,
Someone
yeah,
set
yeah.
fire to, and that person. Uh, I don't know if it's at the
Was
end of
that
this book or
Agatha?
this. Yeah, so this is a character to keep your eye on, and they do
Yeah,
hint at that during this book for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because when they go down to the second floor,
yeah,
he
they see
sort of
her
is like, "Wait, what? What's
because
going on here?"
the one old woman makes it all on her own.
No right to survive on her own. But
No,
crazy hobo lady, man, like crazy hobo lady.
so she
I,
was the one of
I fully expect her to be a red herring and actually just be a crazy hobo lady.
that would be
Like
brilliant.
legit. That I think that's the best payoff, personally. Like
Well, it could
all this
be, but
intrigue around her, everything.
so
No, bro, like just no one cared because she was just a crazy lady. They was like, "Rah!"
by the end of the first book, what we do know is that she glitches the system in the sense that no one. It's almost like she doesn't exist.
Yeah,
He doesn't see her on maps like he should. She does it, and when the feed always drops out, so they end up with like a producer sort of person from the syndicate who's like a manager, not a manager, but is it a
PR.
producer?
She's
Oh,
their
PR.
PR
Thank you.
manager. Yeah,
Yes. So she's the one who books the interviews. She tries to help them out as she can because if they're successful, it makes her successful.
yeah,
So that is a
yeah,
win-win. Um, and she doesn't know who this person is, this Agatha. She can't see
yeah.
it. The feed always breaks down when she's in the room. So a lot of intrigue there. But yeah, back to the old people's home. That he is left with the dilemma of do I try and get more popular by trying to kill bosses and leveling up, or
Or
do
do
I
I
go with
could
my humanity and try and help
mm,
these old people? And good old Carl, good old
yeah,
Carl. It does work out in his benefit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. To preface this, they regularly in the like system updates say please stop pissing and shitting in the corridors. We fixed the toilets.
yeah,
Please stop. And it escalates to the point where they're like, right, that's it. You carry on. Next person that does it, there's going to be a 14th, like a 12th floor level 93 rage elemental is going to come up here. And trust me, when I tell you this, you do not want a level 93 rage elemental coming up here because you're going to die very painfully, probably very quickly, but still very painfully. Um, and there's some senile old people there.
yeah. Um,
And we have rather graphic
a very graphic
description
description.
of Mr. Old Man whipping out his knob and going for a piss, and in
Up
slow
against-
motion, everybody like turning like, and
And this is when they're on the way. They're very close to a safe room.
yeah,
They've nearly there. So Carl has managed to find an exit. They're right near it. If they get to it, everything is good, and they can go down to the next floor and be safe. And on the way, the senile old man, as you said, whaps out his cock, pisses up the wall, and very quickly he is ended by this rage elemental.
but Rage Elemental's still angry.
Yeah.
He wants to rage some more. So he wants to kill everybody in the vicinity. And I'm surprised more people don't
Yeah.
book it there. I mean, obviously one of the first like character that you're introduced to offset there. So you're like, oh, okay, cool. Don't think anyone's safe apart from Carl and Donut. And yeah, how he got out of that situation was quite clever.
Fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he by talking to some goblins
Yeah.
earlier in the floor, he'd found out that NPCs can't go up and down floors. If they go into the staircase, they poof, out of existence. And he manages to do a bunch of damage to the rage elemental, doesn't he? At first,
Yeah,
is
they actually
nearly
think they
going to
might have
kill it.
killed it.
But things don't go quite right, and he has to sort of on the fly it, which becomes a bit of a thing, which makes sense. Plans never work out.
It makes a more interesting read.
And yeah, luckily Carl manages to get rid of it at one of these staircases, and everybody is very impressed by this. But the AI is like, "Oh, you sneaky fuck! You sneaky fuck! I caught you." Yeah, patched. I won't fucking
Very
do
quickly
that again.
patches it out.
Yeah, I love that shit. The AI is great.
The AI
I mean,
is
he doesn't
great.
say that, but like I can imagine him thinking that.
And some of the language that the AI comes out with, so we sort of said it before we started, very non-PC. And not to the point where it's like rage-inducing for people who are super PC, but it just doesn't, it's matter of
care.
fact. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
It's an artificial intelligence. It's cold and, well, apparently not for feet, but it's
Not
going to be
for
cold
feet.
and logical, right?
Um,
I reckon because it doesn't have feet,
It very well might be. It very well might
because
be.
it might want to travel, like hands wouldn't help do that.
Is it just me, or do you picture the AI? And I know it's an AI, so it isn't masculine and feminine. Do you picture it as a masculine AI?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too,
Yes.
and that's what makes it even funnier. Like,
it's definitely a dude. It's not, but it's.
You just reminded me when we talk about the AI. So there's a point of that, and this is we're talking about non-PC, and a bit of like some people might find things like this a bit blue. So the interview we were talking about with the dirtbag who's trying to mess Carl up. So Carl gets one over on him, makes him look like an idiot to the point his show, is about to get canned. People are questioning whether, and he's a prince of another.
He's a prince of a planet.
Shouldn't have been fucked with, really.
Syndicate. And a corporation. His family run a corporation, and he's the prince of the planet.
Yeah. And somebody, who knows? I mean, it's very much hinted at this point that the AI is the one who created it, has created a deep fake of Carl going ham on his arsehole, basically.
Yeah. And people are like, man, like, this is too good. Like, these come up a lot, but this one, like, this one's too good. And, the quote, what do they say?
If you can find it, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I'll just go to the final chapter.
The one of the favorite quotes, just while you pull that up, that you sent me, I think it was one of the first ones, is, "Did I just start a meth war between the llamas and the goblins?"
Yeah.
It's the way this book pulls out the comedy. I hope it doesn't get old, because as it stands, it's spot on for my kind of humor. Very South Park.
Little piggy. Yeah, but it does have some South Park. I can get that.
Just like it is what it is. It's matter of fact. It doesn't seem to bend to anyone's whim.
No.
The one thing about this book, the end is abrupt and sudden, and you turn the page for the next chapter, it just doesn't exist. It's very much
epilogue.
The first in a series of books, but the epilogue was also really good. So it's the first time that we take a look at a different perspective from like a different character. So it's one of the goblins has just rocked back home, found all the dead babies, and has decided that let's see if we can progress to the next floor. Let's try and keep this thing a burning. We've got all the meth we could ever want now because we killed all the llamas, which was set up by Carl, cheeky bugger. It's clever. And the reason Carl could talk to the goblins and not get murderized, because he had that tattoo, didn't he?
Yeah,
the goblin tattoo.
Yeah, he had immunity.
Yeah, so it's just one of the skills that he got from a loot box that turns out to be important.
And then Donut's charisma just allowed her to like charisma them, and she's like, "Bro, those llamas, they were chatting shit, man. Just go fuck them up." go fuck them up. Carl robs them.
Robs him blind.
After they make him a motorbike as well.
Yeah, that was a. So yeah, he's clever. He gets them to make him a motorbike, so he can get around the dungeon quicker.
Yeah.
Um, oh,
Adorable. There's
it's a
lots of little
really good
moments
book.
in this book. You could bring them up and up and up, and like Donut gets a. So I probably think the last thing to mention is the end. Donut getting a pet of her own.
Yes, thank you. I totally forgot that was in this book.
It does. I'm happy it does tell you what it is in this one. So Donut and they enter this room. Donut manages to get a prize. There's like all
It's the
these
end of a boss
caged
room,
animals. Yeah, and
and
there's
there, yeah.
no. Here you go.
No, I was gonna just to preface what you're about to go. So they go into a boss room, loads of doggy cages around. He's got tons of pet biscuits, so feeds them to get them on his side, and then what happens?
Yeah, they end up fucking they fuck the boss up with those dogs. Because they did it that way. Donut is allowed to pick from one of them, and she sees this ugly chicken thing. Like, bro, look at it. This one's mine.
Again, donut being donut.
Yeah. Turns out, ugly chicken thing is baby velociraptor.
So I didn't see it coming. You did,
Right.
didn't you?
A little bit, yeah. Well,
I did
mean,
not at
like
all.
ugly chicken. Like now, my brain is dinosaurs and chickens. So, they're all birds, and yeah, she ends up being what's it called? She calls him Mongo.
Yes.
But his actual name ends up being something. Oh, Mongo the Mongoliasis level pet of level 1 pet of Grand Champion Best in Donut Princess Best in Dungeon Princess Donut.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
It's
Donut introduces herself as that in the dungeon. That is the title that she's given herself.
Yep.
Is Grand Champion Best in Dungeon Princess Donut. She introduces herself as GCB DP. GCBIN Princess Donut. Like her titles is funny.
And
It's great.
the little raptor chicken is a whole nother thing, and it's donut being donut again, and that's the catchphrase, isn't it? Like, God damn it, donut. Is it God damn it, donut?
God fucking damn it, donut.
Yeah. And so end up because Carl's on one of the interview shows. He's like, "Oh, Carl, you've got to say a catchphrase." He's like, "What catchphrase?" And then they show the clips. It's just donut being a twat. And him saying, "God damn it, donut," every time.
Cat,
yeah, that's it, because it's the cat pushing off. It is the epitome of pushing off, looking at you, and then pushing the vase off the
all
desk.
the time. Yeah, but a sentient version of it. So that's got to be like a bajillion times worse.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, I'm going over here now. No, we're not going that way.
So yeah, the raptor baby raptor has an issue where it cannot, in theory, seemably is untrainable. So it constantly bites Donut's face. It will attack mobs on sight. If you're in a safe room and it attacks you, it will get teleported somewhere random. Yeah. So this thing is like, it's well known it's impossible to raise. Like, you can get it, but to try and get it, and it says, doesn't it, if you get it to level 15, you're in for a treat or something like that. Yeah. But it's very, very hard to do that.
That was...
It's very good.
He's a good dinosaur.
Yeah. By the end of the chapter, got him on board. They managed to get it to kill a load of grubs.
Yeah, they've got to make him non-aggro first.
Yes.
To them, because then that's when he becomes Mongo the Mongoliasis, or whatever the fuck that word's like. Mongolian cis? That doesn't look... I can't say that word. Yeah, after they do a little bit of training with him. It's all right for now. But good boy.
Good boy. It's just such a good isn't even the word I want to use. It's just such a me book. It tickles.
Like I said before, it's Ready Player One, the 18 rated version.
Yes. And not in the way that it tickles nostalgia. Like Ready Player One is a nostalgia tickler.
Yeah.
This is almost like a humanity tickler.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we can all look at humanity and go, point at it and go, we're
All right.
stupid as humans.
Yeah,
And that's what it does. It points at humanity, picks out the worst in us, and
but
sometimes the best in us. Um,
yeah, but makes fun of all of it.
yeah, it is very much like a, yeah, it's just, I think you can tell that I'm a fan of the book.
Oh yeah, I am. I would once I've caught up on Kingdom again, I'm definitely going back to book 4.
And I'm
Um,
definitely finishing book 2. Um, as we sort of said, book 1 is very much part 1 as opposed to being like it's
oh,
where we when we spoke about Mistborn, Final Empire. That
mm,
you can read that and walk away having a story with a beginning, middle, and
yeah,
end.
yeah.
With
This
this,
it has an end, but not an end. It's very
yeah,
open. You're
yeah,
definitely just going on to the next thing. Which
nothing's tied up by at the end of this
no,
book.
um, I mean, it was. I'd say it was to me. For me, it was a satisfying ending. Um,
Yeah,
but I think that was because I knew there was more to come, and
yeah,
because I know it's a series. If it was just if I'd have bought this when it first came out, I'd have been like, oh, because there's no more to read. I think book 1 and 2 together it would probably be it's like 800 pages, but I don't know if you could edit it down a bit, just make it like 600-700. I think that would be a better book 1, but
okay,
I also this was well not better, but I don't know. I think knowing that there's more in the series it is what makes it sort of satisfying for me because it's
yeah,
like okay, cool. Now I can go on to the next part of the story. It's almost like each book is a chapter.
yeah, yes. It's what didn't
So
make me rage. The fact that I knew I could just keep reading because it is
yeah,
a total cliffhanger. The end. So it ending on an interview, where they say, I think you mentioned if make sure because of her Donut's charisma, look out for this skill when you evolve. And
yeah,
that's something we didn't touch on. Is the next floor after this book, they will have the ability to change their race,
their
to
race and
change their
class.
class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pick their class.
So you can become like Carl could become a cat, for example.
Yeah,
But when doing that, you have to think about your ratings and your popularity and the
yeah.
show. So you don't want to
And
become like a
their view
walk-in.
account gets Donut's view account especially gets pretty astronomical pretty quickly.
Yeah,
She's not the most viewed in Dungeon, but she's like very high up there. So like by the end of the book, I don't know if this is their combined follower count or one of the others, but they've got 124.8 trillion views, 2.1 trillion followers, and 234 billion have favorited them.
yeah, pretty special,
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. Yeah,
pretty good. Man,
it's a good book.
I wonder if
Would
as
recommend.
these progress, we'll get more structured in our book club.
Maybe, probably not. That's
It's
not
just kind
us.
of us, isn't it? It's not
Yeah,
us.
I would say although we went back a bit back and forth. I think this I think this one was better than the Mistborn one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I think we
Progress.
discussed more about the book in this one. Whereas last
Okay.
one, it was story time with Stephen.
Storytime Stephen. Well, I liked Storytime with Stephen though, and I'm sure everyone else did.
Because we did
Um,
discuss those bits of it, but it was very much me going through the story for everyone.
yeah. Well,
Recap.
that's it. We didn't go through the whole story this one. There is lots we missed. As I
Yeah, but
said, there are
there's lots
so
of
many.
moments
Yeah,
in this. These are
so
just
many
our
moments.
favorite ones.
Um, but yeah, so that is pretty much Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Mm. It was
Highly
great.
rated.
I highly recommend. Highly
Yeah,
recommend. It
both of
it
us.
gets maybe don't do 4 books in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I would. Yeah, I'd recommend
No, don't do that.
not that.
Spread it out because it's burnoutable. I can feel
It-
myself getting burnt out
I
because
think
I've done it too quickly.
yeah,
Yeah, 4 books is a bit too much.
it's at the end of the day, it's the same. I imagine it will be the same dungeon they're crawling through. Similar things are coming up with similar characters. So to
Yeah, it's
have
just yeah. So
more the
you can
same, which is
just
always good. But
it does get too much the same. I
yeah,
like a little bit of the variety when I'm reading. So,
exactly.
yeah,
So Stephen, what's
the
next?
book. The book I've picked. It's another start of a series. It's a series within a series. So So this is the Farseer anthology,
Okay.
and it's part of the Realm of the Elderlings, which is a series by Robin Hobb. And the book we'll be reading is The Assassin's Apprentice.
Okay. I've
Um,
heard of Robin Hobb.
and this series of books, the main character in particular, is very near and dear to my heart. This is about. Oh, I mean, you'll see. Book one. So the problem with the series, book one is quite short. Book one sets up, but this series follows this MC literally from childhood to adulthood. So book one, it's about him when he's like 2 to 11 years old.
Oh wow.
It's not. Yeah, I think it's great. I really liked it. Obviously, I've reread the series many times, but I haven't read it in a long time. So I'm looking forward to reading book one again. And yeah, I'm not gonna give you. I want to see what your thoughts are, like, without any of my not influence, without saying too much about it.
Okay.
It's a fantasy book again, but this is a medieval fantasy. I'll say that. Yeah, Fitz
Wicked.
is Fitz is awesome. Like
Fantastic.
it takes a little while for him to get there. Book one, it like I said, it's good, but my next pick is definitely going to be book two. I've
It's
thought
fair
about
enough.
it through the whole thing because that just gets into more of the meat of the story. Whereas book one is very much setting up, is introducing stuff and concepts and things like that. But it's got really cool. I think it's got a really cool magic system. It's different. It's not magic. It's kind of it's a bit wacky. And then the
Fantastic.
expanded series all tie into the final like Farseer trilogy. So there's 3 Farseer trilogies. They're all about the same guy. And then there's 2 other book series, one trilogy, one quadrilogy, I think. And they there is one character that is in every series of books. They have a different name in each series, and yeah, they sort of influence events. And but the other trilogy and the quadrilogy then all tie into the story of the final Farseer trilogy. It's really cool, and you like get little snippets of stuff that happens in those areas through the Farseer trilogy, and how the whole web of all of these books ties together is super awesome.
Nice.
Final book, I was very sad,
Oh
very sad.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm very excited to be
Mm.
getting in there and be able to join you in something that is. I love when some of these suggestions from you, they're like near to your heart, and it's sort of like, I know it sounds really
This
soppy now,
one,
but getting to know you a bit better, I like that.
I relate real heavy to Fitz,
Okay.
real heavy to Fitz. Like as a character, because you see through his life. He's such a flawed man, but
Oh, please say.
well, you'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't really touch on it too much in book one, but when we get into the elite, you'll see. Because yeah, book 2 and 3 are really good, and then the second trilogy is beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Well, I'm going to be checking my Kindle to see if I can get that unlimited, and if not, I'm going to town today, and maybe I'll get a physical. Who
Assassin's
knows?
Apprentice.
Brilliant. Well, that's it, everyone. We will be bringing that up now at the start of each podcast for the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks, and then at the end of those weeks, we will come back together and chat about it, just like we did you today.
And this isn't a long one, everybody. The next ones will be, sorry, but yeah, this one's not so long. I give you a nice little short introduction.
He said that before. I don't.
No,
Stephen's
this one I
concept
promise.
of
I'm pretty
long.
sure. Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure this one's about.
It's
the
only
same
a few
length as
thousand
Dungeon Crawl.
pages. It's nothing,
Yeah,
barely not even
in
touching the Bible.
total. Apprentice.
Oh yeah, your definition of short is very different to a normal human reading definition of short, I think.
Length.
400
400 to 480.
Yeah, that's
So
not
it's
short.
well, that's same as Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, that was big
when
text in
you
that
see
book
the
as
other
well.
book, when you see the other books, bro,
Yeah, so there you go.
you'll be
It's
agreeing.
comparatively short,
Yeah.
but short to me is two to 300 pages. That's a short
No,
book.
that's a light. That's a light. That's an evening's read. That's an article.
That's an article. That's a review.
That's a paper.
Oh god. So yeah, let's all learn to read quicker to keep up with Stephen. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm very excited.
Sorry.
And yes, it's not. That's not a massive book. But I also, it's just a good sized book, I'd say.
Honestly, it doesn't feel like it's like that. It just feels like book length to me. Like 400 pages, about 400.
I mean,
like
yeah,
just
you're right.
book.
But that's why I wouldn't say it's short. Anyway, tomato. Not that anyone says tomato.
Numbers, they're relative. We made them up. Who cares?
Absolutely are. Yes. Well, thank you so much for listening to us. I'm really enjoying these, and I say it each time we do one, but just thank you so much for introducing this to the podcast. It was such a good idea, dude. And I hope people at home would agree.
Maybe one week we can. We need some more interaction, but maybe one time when we do them, we'll let someone else pick the book. Maybe Belle will pick the book for us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Although she's kind of into that fairy crap recently. I say crap because it's the sort of stuff.
Yeah. Is she into lady books?
She claims it's not a lady book.
Okay,
but it's
nice.
Have you heard? Have you heard?
I know you. You don't have to hide it, Belle. It's fine.
There's one called Something Thorns, right? And it's about a fairy that accidentally kills a person who accidentally kills a wolf that turns out to be a fairy, and then it ends up with fairy fucking. Now, I'm sorry, that's porn.
Yeah.
If I was reading a book about fairy fucking, people would raise their eyebrows. Girls can do it, and they get to go on all the internet and be like, "Oh, look, fairy fucking, I love it."
But yeah, then we get to watch anime and defend it. So,
but this is it. This is exactly it. When we watch anime, it's so like, pervy. No, what you read? Anyway.
His. Yeah, I won't say.
We could do a whole episode about it, and we do.
As soon as you said thorns, I knew. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's a very famous series right now. I don't know if that's one she's reading. I think it is the Thorns book, but yes.
Well, no, I mean,
until next time.
I can just imagine there's thorns in a lot of those titles.
Stephen, do you want to tell everyone at home what they need to do for us?
Like, comment, subscribe, bell notification icons. We don't have Patreon yet because we don't want that. Not yet.
No, not yet.
We want 5p a month.
No.
And yeah. Streams Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Occasionally, there might randomly be more occasionally soon. You might see me on Path of Exile. You'll see Joe on some random shit. You'll see us both on Monster Hunter.
Yes, fantastic.
That was the coffee running out.
Thank you so much. Until next time, I've been Beyond Joe,
and I will still be Stephen at the end.
And thank you for joining us
in another world.